Thanks to the sound fiscal policies of the Clinton administration, our nation's economy is soaring. In fact, we are in the longest period of growth ever during peacetime. As we enter the new century, a new challenge lies ahead. Helping the places that have not yet discovered the economic opportunity and success experienced by most of America in the 1990s.
Our nation will never have a better chance. When will we ever have this kind of opportunity, where unemployment is low, inflation is low, there's a lot of money in our country, the value of the stock market has tripled, and then some. Business people are looking for new places to invest, and people who have done well feel a moral obligation to try to help those who are less fortunate.
If this is how strong we are today, imagine how strong we will be when every man and woman is participating in this economy to the full extent of their ability. Imagine how strong we're going to be when Appalachia and the Delta and the urban areas are all participating. Imagine how strong we're going to be.
Still, President Clinton and Vice President Gore know much more remains to be done, that too many places remain left behind. To expose the poverty and horrendous living conditions in these places, President Clinton, Housing and Urban Development Secretary Andrew Cuomo, Agriculture Secretary Dan Glickman, Senator Tom Daschle, and other top congressional and administration officials embarked in early July on a week-long coast-to-coast tour. They brought with them dozens of leading CEOs to explore the economic potential and to announce investments for jobs and housing. For over 30 years, little economic growth and substandard housing has marked the lives of people living in the Mississippi Delta, Appalachia, and Indian Country. HUD recently issued a report called The State of the Cities that showed 500 cities are lagging behind the rest of the nation. Its 3 findings included smaller and older manufacturing cities like Buffalo and East St. Louis continue to suffer. Even fast-growing cities like Phoenix have pockets of poverty. And while many big cities are doing well, inner-city neighborhoods like Central LA, Bedford-Stuyvesant, and Cabrini Green struggle. Clearly, there is great need, but there also is great opportunity and potential. Another HUD study entitled New Markets showed that many of America's distressed neighborhoods possess enormous retail purchasing power, estimated at $331 billion, or 1/3 of the $1.1 trillion total for cities in the study. There is money to be invested. There is money to be made. In Hazard, Kentucky and Central Appalachia, Bank of America announced a $500 million capital investment plan for economically strapped communities. In Clarksdale, Mississippi, the heart of the Mississippi Delta, the nonprofit Enterprise Corporation is investing $15 million for local business startups. A Walgreens shopping center opened in East St. Louis. Citigroup, AT&T, and Lucent Technologies are investing $8 million for job training in the Watts neighborhood in Los Angeles. And on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in South Dakota, dozens of companies announced significant investments for Indian Country. The Mortgage Bankers Association, including Norwest and Countrywide, agreed to make 1,000 home mortgages in Indian Country. The Mortgage Insurance Companies of America announced $37 million in home mortgage insurance for reservations. Job training opportunities are being provided by MetLife, Microsoft, Gateway, Owens Corning, the North American Steel Framing Alliance, Worthington Industries, and Amity Incorporated. But government must play a role in providing incentives for these companies. President Clinton understands government's role and has proposed legislation to create APIC, America's Private Investment Corporation, providing new markets tax credits and funding to do major economic investment in inner cities. But the most poignant part of the New Markets Tour, presenting the clearest picture of both need and potential, was on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, the home of the Oglala Lakota tribe, the most powerful and dominant tribe of the Great Plains. Today, Pine Ridge is the poorest census tract in the nation. The unemployment rate is staggering, 73%. Over 59% of families live in substandard housing. Many families suffer from alcohol and substance abuse. Unfortunately, Pine Ridge is not unique. It is just an example of the terrible conditions on many Indian reservations today. During the past 2 years, HUD has worked hard to form a stronger partnership with all tribes without unnecessary mandates and red tape. HUD appointed the first Native American to head its program, Jackie Johnson of the Tlingit tribe. Secretary Cuomo and Deputy Secretary Saul Ramirez have made Indian issues a top priority, with both playing a direct role in policy development and implementation. Historically, HUD has funded housing developments on reservations. However, the agency also is working with tribes on economic development and jobs, focusing on the use of technology in remote locations.
We all have unique problems and unique issues and unique needs. The houses aren't the same, the infrastructure problems aren't the same, the job opportunities and industry opportunities are not the same. So we have a lot to do. We have a lot to do so that any country can raise itself up to the level that is being enjoyed by mainstream America.
The President's visit to Pine Ridge was to open HUD's Shared Visions Conference, a national convening of over 100 tribal presidents, including Oglala Lakota President Harold Salway and 700 other tribal leaders from all parts of the country, including the Cherokee, the Oneida, the Navajo, the Kickapoo, the Comanche, the Jamestown Squalam, and the Seminole. This 3-day conference was the first HUD conference on a reservation. President Clinton also was the first president to visit a reservation since Franklin Roosevelt, and was the first president ever to conduct a nation-to-nation meeting on an Indian reservation. Pine Ridge was the perfect setting for this historic occasion. Secretary Cuomo first visited Pine Ridge in August 1998 to view housing conditions up close. There, he visited the home of Geraldine Bluebird. While on the reservation, President Clinton met her, and their front porch conversation was one of the most unforgettable moments of his visit. Geraldine Bluebird, with her family, lives in a crowded, dilapidated house, a living arrangement all too common on Indian reservations. Her situation, along with dozens of others the Secretary witnessed, was the inspiration for Secretary Cuomo's commitment to develop a national housing model to increase affordable housing and home ownership in Indian country. This model encourages tribes to form nonprofits to develop housing and act as a financial entity for construction projects. Since Secretary Cuomo's visit, HUD has helped the tribe establish its own nonprofit, the Oglala Sioux Partnership for Housing. President Clinton toured 5 homes built by the partnership and met dozens of families qualified for mortgages. With HUD's help, the nonprofit plans to provide improved housing for hundreds of families. HUD also will be working with other tribes to help them replicate what Pine Ridge has done. In addition to the housing effort, the U.S. Department of Agriculture and HUD are supporting Pine Ridge through its empowerment zone.
And from the beginning, the President and I have tried to design policies that not only would give our country a chance to have this strong, sustained economic growth, but would also make it possible for those communities that have been left out in the past, left behind during previous economic booms, to fully participate and to be a part of the prosperity.
The Oglala Lakota is the only tribe in the nation to receive an empowerment zone, a designation that qualifies the reservation for federal tax credits and funds for economic development. This program adopts a bottom-up approach to decision-making, meaning the community decides how best to focus resources. While on the reservation, President Clinton met with empowerment zone leaders. After his speech, Indian leaders, CEOs, and nonprofit leaders discussed issues, mixed and mingled, and enjoyed Native American food, music, and dance at afternoon festivities at the Red Cloud Indian School on the reservation. Father Peter Klink, who heads the school, graciously agreed to host the event. A special guest made the afternoon even more memorable. Carrie Kennedy Cuomo, daughter of Senator Robert Kennedy, spoke and visited with many tribal elders who remembered her father's contribution to their tribe and to all tribes.
Speaking with the families who were moving into those new houses today, one of the women said, "This is my dream come true, to have my own home."
President Clinton has the vision and the will to ensure that a strong economy works for not just some Americans, but for all Americans. We possess a unique moment in history. Indeed, now is the time to help these places, for the good of the people who live there, as well as for the good of all Americans.
Because it says not only is it good for the nation's wallet, but it is good for the nation's soul. That this nation has a moral obligation to bring its people who are not yet sharing the American dream into that great American success story. It is a question of our national identity.
The name of the conference you are attending is Shared Visions. We must share the vision, and it must be fundamentally yours, for your children and their future. If you will give us that vision and work with us, we will achieve it.
Imagine how strong we're going to be when the 73% who are unemployed today on this reservation are 73% employed. That's when this nation will reach its full potential. When that bright American sun of opportunity shines on all her people and shines on people who've been left too long in the shadows. Today, that ray of sunshine has broken through. Thank you.